The beauty of jazz is something that is unmatched. The way that a song can make you feel something even without the need of a voice to guide you to how you're meant to feel. It simply uses the instrument to show you a story. In a poetic way, jazz music is a living, breathing person. Each note a thought, each instrument an experience. It's the composer's job when it comes to jazz music to let you in on the world that is this person, using instruments to construct a voice that otherwise would be unheard. To put it simply, jazz music just feels alive.
When I play a Gershwin tune, I'm not really playing a Gershwin tune the way I think he would play it. I'm playing it the way it affects me, and that's the way I feel about it.
If you haven't ever listened to jazz music before, it can sound chaotic, which it kinda is. Jazz music to me is like that feeling that's forever moving, unstoppable but forever clashing with itself, like a race for each note wanting that chance to be remembered. To be honest with you, I think my statement is best represented in the movie La La Land.
It's conflict and it's compromise and it's new every time. It's brand new every night. It's very, very exciting.
I'm probably going a bit too deep into it, but there is definitely something insanely captivating about jazz music. The way it keeps itself fresh and relevant even after so many years of different sounds and different styles. There's something about jazz that just never seems to get old. Even the oldest tracks feel new and relevant as they do today. Chet Baker to me is someone who stands out the most for that reason alone. A lot of his tracks still feel like they could have been made today, and even are still relevant today for the fact that you've probably heard a lot of his sound through lofi.
Too easily, I fall in love too bad.
I'm kind of thankful to lo-fi for the fact that it led me to find these incredible artists such as Chet Baker. Honestly, if it wasn't for lo-fi, I probably wouldn't have dipped my toes into jazz at all. One thing that I have noticed about lo-fi and jazz and even hip-hop is how much they intertwine together, especially when it comes to hip-hop, for how much hip-hop music actually samples and uses jazz music in their records. MF Doom was even known for his heavy use of jazz-influenced tracks, songs as famous as Doomsday, who sampled The Kiss of Life from Sada, who in herself was a classic jazz and R&B artist, inspired by those that came before her. Honestly, jazz never seems to lose its relevance, even with artists today still using this sound. Just for an example, Kendrick Lamar's album Pimp a Butterflies has jazz all throughout the record, even being composed by none other than Terrence Martin, Stephen Booner, and Kamasi Washington. Stephen Booner, which you probably know as Thundercat, is one of my favorite bassers of all time.
I don't know what to tell other bass players. I've never been good at that, but I would say follow your heart, I guess. That's all I can tell you.
But each of these members made a jazz collective known as West Coast Get Down, a collective of very talented and very well respected jazz musicians. These guys, in my opinion, are still keeping jazz music alive. Inspired by those that came before them, they bring a modern edge to the sound and transcend it to, honestly, the next level of jazz.
And music is kind of a living thing, and one of the biggest ways it changes is actually in our perception. When I'm feeling like I'm not making anything cool, I just make it anyway and just push it over to the side. A year later, I'll pick it up and play it. I'm like, oh wow, this is a really cool song.
To be honest, I want to dive a little bit more into Kamasi, for he has this EP that, in my opinion, is the whole reason jazz music is so fucking cool. Kamasi is an artist that comes to mind as one of the most masterful storytellers purely through his music. His EP, Harmony of Difference, which is considered a spiritual salute to jazz music with its themes of diversity, unity, and identity, it's an EP that has a lot to say even without the use of lyrics. There's so many different things that I like about the tracks on this album, but it's the final track on the album called Truth, a 13-minute song that concludes his message with a show of strength and diversity, basically saying there's beauty and difference, and that coming together to cherish that beauty is what will make us stronger. A powerful message nonetheless that he shows by combining all the melodies on the previous tracks. This EP has a very cinematic feel to it and was honestly praised by a lot of critics, especially on that final track. In an interview with Live for Live Music, Washington explains that the EP originated as a part of a multimedia installation for Whitney Museum's 2017's biennial. Unlike his usual process where the music comes first, this project began with the concept of exploring the idea of harmony and difference. He described it as a study in counterpoint, the art of balancing similarity and difference to create harmony between separate melodies. This approach aimed to reflect reflect how constructing elements can come together to form a cohesive and beautiful whole. I think this EP is exactly what jazz music is about, and honestly why I love jazz music so much in the first place. Bringing humanity together, communicating with the sound alone, it's something that is quite beautiful. Jazz music was honestly created as a separate rebellion, a place where you're able to express yourself freely, and I think it's very apparent with these modern day jazz artists, and especially jazz artists in the past, that every person feels unique and solely their own person, and you can hear that influence throughout their sound. There is kind of one sad thing that I have noticed about jazz music, especially in my generation, that less and less people are even listening to jazz music, and I kind of get why that is. Jazz music feels like it's made for an older generation. There's so much to catch up on and kind of like hard to get into. If it wasn't for researching in this video, I probably wouldn't know half the stuff that I just talked about. I'm very passionate about jazz music, but honestly I'd consider myself more casual when it comes to the genre. I don't really know half the artists that are around, and I only really listen to what's modern, and I'm still discovering older artists as we speak. I honestly think the answer for why people are listening to jazz less and less is best described in this interview with Lofi.
I think it's something that's really scary for young audiences to approach. It's something that seems like it's only for an older generation, or like the barriers to entry are so high. You feel like you need to be educated in jazz music to even speak about it. I went to jazz school, and I even feel sometimes small when I'm having conversations about it. So jazz music was created in the first place as kind of like a deviation from rules and something that was meant to be free and for everyone. So the fact that it's become something that feels like it isn't for everyone is kind of sad, actually, and I think is the death of the genre.
I will say I don't think jazz is really ever gonna die. It's kind of like a staple piece, and honestly it's kind of getting more and more revived as time goes on. Even if you're not fully into jazz music, there's definitely tracks out there that you've probably heard and thought are pretty cool that honestly were inspired by jazz to begin with. I think anybody should really give jazz music a try at one point. I kind of live by the idea that if you don't really like a genre, there's a good chance that you just haven't found the right song for you. Believe me, I'm still looking for my first country song. But that's pretty much all I have off the top of my dome here today. Thank you guys for watching. If you enjoyed the video, let me know. If there's anything else that you want me to cover or even talk about, let me know in the comments below. Please like and subscribe. We're trying to get to 200 subscribers. That's pretty much it. So goodbye.